Facebook advertising. I'm not surprised to see a lot of you here because Facebook advertising is something that, I mean, in my world, everyone is completely obsessed with and everybody wants to get into. So what I'd like to do is just start by kind of finding out a bit about you guys and where you've got to with your Facebook ads. So who's run ads for their business or brand before? Put your hands up, big high hands, okay. And out of you guys who have run ads, how many of you feel that the ads work? Like you're confident that the ads worked? Okay. So how many of you are not confident that the ads worked? And how many of you who feel the ads worked, which we brought it down to 4 people approximately, how many of you know why the ads worked and feel confident that you can now scale your ads and grow your business to infinity and beyond? 1. What are you doing here? You need to leave. No, you're fine. Sorry, said that? It's great to see you're confident they work, because one thing I see time and time again is that this is the normal journey that people go through when they're running their ads. They start off really excited because they learn about interest targeting on Facebook and the fact that they can target all sorts of people who like things that they believe their customers like. And they feel that this is going to be a huge resounding success, which it should be. So they get beyond themselves with excitement, boost a few posts, run a few ads, and then they don't work. Now I spend my days auditing ad accounts, and I know exactly what people are doing wrong. I see time and time again ad accounts not set up properly, Facebook's machine learning has not been triggered, so there's no way you're ever going to train Facebook in what it is you do, and it's not surprising the campaigns don't work. So what we're going to be talking about today, just to run through, is, where do I have to point this? First of all, getting started with advertising. So who's never advertised on Facebook but has a business they'd like to advertise? Can I see your hands up high? Okay, so for you guys, how to get started in advertising. This is relevant to those who are advertising as well, because more likely than not, your ad account is not set up properly. We're going to talk about the different types of audiences that you have access to within Facebook and why you've really got to understand these audiences and how they work. We're going to talk about what you need to do before you even think about advertising. So again, this is something I see all the time where brands have kind of gone into advertising and they're just not in a place where they're ad ready. We won't even work with clients who are not ad ready. We would work with them to get them ad ready, but we won't run any ads until they're ad ready because it's pointless, it's just an absolute waste of money. We'll talk a bit about ad creatives, split testing, and we're going to do a Q&A. Now obviously, who heard there was a massive Facebook newsfeed algorithm update on Friday? So we can talk about that as well. I'm going to cover it a bit in this talk, and then we can also talk about it in the Q&A. So just, who am I? My name's Tash, and I began my career as a journalist, working for national newspapers and women's magazines. I came into the online world in 2008, where I set up an online press agency called Talk the Press. It was entirely dependent on Google back then. You know, things were different. It wasn't that long ago, but things were very different. It was entirely dependent on Google leads, and that's how I started learning about online marketing. So that business could not have survived if I had not understood, kept on top of, adapted and changed my online strategy for the duration. And that was my role within that business, was to keep on top of all internet marketing strategies, keep ahead of our competition and bring in new things before my competitors did. I sold the business in 2014 and started working as a digital marketing strategist. And I'm the author of a book called The $1 Million Blog, which if you haven't read, you must read it. It's absolutely brilliant. And I'm the co-founder of an agency called Bolt Digital, and we work with brands, business owners, celebrities to help them build their businesses. Now, primarily, the lead product, certainly the product that everybody wants us to use, or wants us to have, to them, is a product called Bolt Funnels, which is all about Facebook advertising successfully running sales funnels and acquiring customers or leads on Facebook, whatever the goal of your business may be. I'm also an accredited trainer for Facebook's She Means Business campaign. That means a lot of the content that I'm delivering to you today has come directly from Facebook HQ. So I often speak for Facebook on subjects like this. So, for those of you who are as old as I am and remember the kind of domination of the old school media, I find the whole situation with these modern brands, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, it's just, what we're seeing is the fragmentation and dismantling of the UK media. And nowhere do you see this more clearly than in Facebook's advertising revenue figures for last year. Just the quarter, it raised, this is the first quarter of last year, went from 5,201 million to 7,857 million in 3 months as a year-on-year comparison. Now what that means is that all sorts of brands and businesses are pulling money out of where they traditionally put money, and that might be newspapers, it might be magazines, it might be radios, it might be the underground, it might be, where else might be traditionally put advertising money. They're pulling out their advertising money of all of the old school media and putting it into Facebook. So there is a real rush into Facebook. Advertising is growing at a huge pace. But Facebook ads are not as straightforward as they might appear, which is why we haven't got loads of people sitting here today with their hands up saying they're absolutely confident they know how to grow and scale and build their business using Facebook ads. So just to give you a bit of an illustration of the difference between Facebook advertising and Google advertising. So most of us are familiar with the idea of search-based advertising. I'm Googling something specific, and Google serves me up an ad that is a specific response to what I'm Googling. Now, Google Pay-Per-Click is an absolutely brilliant and wonderful ad platform. We still use it for most of our clients. Nothing beats the sort of the moment that someone's searching, being able to hit them with what they want. So Facebook is the absolute opposite of this in terms of how it functions. People are not searching on Facebook. In fact, they're going to be searching even less with these latest newsfeed changes. What they're doing on Facebook is they're going to connect and engage with their friends, as Mark Zuckerberg told us they'd all be doing. Now what they're actually doing on Facebook is they're relaxing, they're having fun. They're minding their own business, they're browsing. They have absolutely no idea what it is. You know, they don't know about you and your business, they don't care about you and your business, they don't even know that they want your product, or I presume, just to do a straw poll, who's got a product-based business here? And who has a service-based business? Okay, so we're primarily talking to product-based businesses, and that may be an e-commerce strategy. There's 2 types of advertising: e-commerce product-based or service-based, which would be more of a lead generation strategy. So talking about product-based businesses, people do not know about your product. They don't know why they should want it, and they certainly don't know that they do want it. They are relaxing, minding their own business, and then suddenly you pop up in their feed. They're not going to buy your product at that point, just to let you know that. So there's a very different mentality that you have to be aware of if you're advertising on Google, when people are searchers, or if you're advertising on Facebook, when people are really trying to have fun, and probably they're multitasking too. Has anyone been in the supermarket queue, for instance, and been browsing through Facebook? Yeah, I mean that's our normal behaviour now. I mean, apparently we're all going to be on Facebook slightly less, I believe that when I see it, but what we are always all doing is, and this is speaking for myself, highly addicted on these platforms all day, but the moment I have a second spare, I start browsing mindlessly through feeds. That's the way people behave. So they're not even concentrating. So to give you an idea of the competition on Facebook and how competitive it is. So most people can have 5,000 friends, join 6,000 groups and follow 5,000 pages. That means you might be seeing posts each day coming from 15,000 sources. Now, the algorithm narrows down to what you actually have the potential to see, so what they believe you will find relevant and engaging, to about 1,500 posts. Now, unless you're on Facebook all day, every day, you don't actually have the time to see 1,500 posts. So there's all these different influences coming in. So potentially you should see 15,000 posts. You have the potential to see, and by posts I mean posts and ads, you have the potential to see 1,500 posts. The time you spend on Facebook will allow you to see around 300 posts. I think quite often what we find with our own personal experiences of Facebook, I'm going for my own and I'm saying I am highly addicted, is that, you know, I don't often see the same thing twice, and the newsfeed does fill up with new content if you check it again and again, although then you do sometimes see the same thing twice. So it's highly competitive. Now, what also happens, and interestingly, what's really interesting about this algorithm update, that certainly in my world, the Facebook advertising world and the social content world, people are really freaked out about, there's lots of discussion, is actually nothing's really changed. Facebook has always prioritised friend content over business content. They have to, because if they don't, then all we see is posts from businesses and people will stop using Facebook. They have to keep their users happy. So actually, what we've gone is just another nudge further in the deprioritisation of business content and prioritisation of friend content. Now that's not a radical change. Still, most of us will continue to see ads all the time because, like, Facebook is a money-making platform. I know this talk is about well-being of users, etc., but effectively, Facebook is growing at a tremendous pace, and they're going to continue growing and growing and growing. So Facebook is an ad platform. So it's a competitive landscape for advertisers. You're going to see less posts from business pages, organic posts, that is for sure. But we were already at a stage, certainly running an agency, I was already at a stage where we're not relying on organic reach for our clients. If you get organic reach, then fine, that's great. But we were already framing Facebook, this is a pay-to-play platform. This is a serious platform that requires investment. This is not some sort of booster post for £20 and expect to make £1 million platform. That's not the way it works. It may have worked like that for some really early adopters, but those are in years gone by. Is anybody here running a business that has relied purely on organic traffic from Facebook? Good, so you guys don't need to worry, you can all relax. There's nothing to stress you guys about the new algorithm update. Was anyone planning to run their business purely relying on organic traffic from Facebook? For those who haven't started yet, did you think this is all going to be free? No. Okay, so we can talk more about the algorithm update in the Q&A, but you guys don't need to worry. But the good news is that it's not all about ad spend. Although I said yes, pay to play, etc., that's true. If you do great creative, if you can get even on ads, conversation going, if you can get people, if you put ads up that are just so good that people share them, then your content will also have an element of spread and reach that you're not paying for, and that's coming to you for free. So this is the this is the sort of summary of, well actually I just screenshotted rid of what he said last night. So I think it's definitely true. He says recently we've got feedback from the community that public content posts for businesses. That's true. They've also had a lot of other negative media recently, and they just want to make sure that Facebook remains, perhaps it went a bit too far in one direction, but it really is just what it's always been, a place to get updates from friends, family, things you really care about. So, when you start advertising on Facebook, you'll go into your ads manager, and this is when if it's your first time advertising, you'll get really excited, and this is going to be the start of the journey that's possibly going to lead to you feeling disappointed. Because you're going to come in here, and the Facebook user interface is incredibly easy to use, and it makes it seem like, wow, this is great, this is really good. All I need to do is just come on here, I want to send traffic, I'm going to click the send traffic to my website, and you walk through a kind of setup wizard that's going to take you through the process of creating an ad very easily, and it's much more intuitive than the Google AdWords platform. So before you go any further, I want you to start, we're going to talk now about the things that you have to have in place before you start putting £20 behind ads, because before you know you're going to spend £200. Not that to be honest, if people come to me and say they spent £200, their ads haven't worked, the answer is you have not spent anywhere near enough money to even be having a conversation about whether your ads work or don't work. So the very first thing is the Facebook pixel. Who doesn't know what the Facebook pixel is? Okay, and who already has a pixel on their website? Okay, and the rest of you? What are you guys doing? you know what it is, but you haven't got it on your website. So the Facebook pixel is an essential part of Facebook's machine learning ability. It allows you to connect your website with individual users on Facebook. So Facebook is not monitoring people by device, which some cookie tracking is monitoring by device, by IP address. It's monitoring people as a user, as an individual. So once the pixel is on your website and it's connected to an ad account that's set up, it allows Facebook to see which individuals are going to your website and what they are doing on your website. The pixel, as with everything on Facebook, there is a pixel setup instructions. It's easy to do. You may need to get your developer to add it to your website, but creating the pixel itself is really easy. The second part of the pixel is not just having it on your website, but this part, creating custom audiences we're going to come on to, and finally tracking the actions that matter. You need to tell Facebook which of the actions people take on your website, or which of the pages they take on your website, when they visit on your website, are the most important. So that may be your thank you page where they've completed a form. Or it may be as they check out, you've got lots of actions that people take, adding to basket, initiating checkout, adding card details, and finally completing purchase. Facebook needs to be able to track all of those, so it knows, first of all, what types of people add to basket, then secondly, which types of people make it down that funnel. So, for instance, you'll always see that only, depends on the brand, but 50% of people who add to basket actually end up checking out. So you actually want Facebook to be able to tell the difference between who are the people who check out and the types of people, so you can find more people like them, versus all the annoying people who just add to basket and never check out. It's like, we don't want more people like those people. We want more people like the people who are actually completing the action and checking out. I'm going to show you inside an e-commerce campaign for one of our clients, but we track all of that, and we tell Facebook at different stages of success as the campaign grows to optimise for the next event. So in the very beginning of an e-commerce campaign, you're just trying to get Facebook to optimise people who add to cart, because it's learning, I always think Facebook is like a puppy. You don't buy a puppy and then get cross with it because it doesn't do what you've told it to do. You accept that puppy needs training. In the same way, the algorithm needs learning. It needs training and it needs learning. So you want to train it on every stage that matters to you, and then you want to help it develop. So first of all, you'll say to Facebook, you need to find me people to add to cart, and then once it's nailed who adds to cart, you say, right, find me people now who initiate checkout. So you're actually thinking of Facebook as being, well, I do, it's sort of like a living thing that you actually have to help and train and teach, and you are the supportive person in that relationship. So the next thing you're going to be thinking about is, so that was first of all adding the pixel and adding your custom conversions, the events and actions that matter, and you have to do that to start the machine learning. The second part is thinking about your audience targeting. Now, there are three key audiences that you have access to within Facebook. The first of all is what Facebook call their core audiences. And that sounds, this is the place that people get really excited. This is the audience that you go in and you say, yes, I can target women who live in London who are aged 45 to 55, and they like shoes and skincare. Now, I know that they are definitely going to be the buyers of my brand. When you hear yourself having those thoughts, just tell yourself that try and enjoy the excitement. It's unlikely to be a resounding success. This core audience is the first step when you're going from ground zero, when you haven't got website traffic, when you are not sure who your audience is, when you have no other option but to put in your own best guess parameters around that audience. What you want to do is get to a place where you're working more within custom and lookalike audiences. So your custom audiences are these people. Now these people are really important because these are people that have already taken action or are in your world. So they are your actual customers, your email list, people who've engaged on your Facebook, your website visitors, and people who've bought specific items or visited specific pages. You can only have these two custom audiences if you've got your pixel on your website. That's why it's so important. So you've got your core audiences who are your best guests. You then got your custom audiences who are people who are already in your world. And finally you have a lookalike audience. And those are people who are similar to any other audience that you've got in your account. So if I've got 500 people who've added my e-commerce product to cart, then I can create a lookalike of people who've added the product to cart. And in the UK right now, lookalike audiences are about 400,000 in size. So equally, on an e-commerce campaign or running for a client, we will have a lookalike of every single audience we ever create. So we will have a lookalike of people who've added to cart, of people who've initiated checkout, of people who have completed purchase. And it's all about testing, and testing which audiences is going to be best. The reason it's really important to kind of focus on building up towards custom and lookalike audiences and working within them is because of the fact that you're just one step closer to where you want to be if you're working with people that you know are either already in your world or are similar to people who are in your world. And generally lookalike targeting works much better than that interest-based targeting, which is the best audience. So to set up a custom audience for those who haven't done it already, you come into Ads Manager, and the main Ads Manager control menu is in the top right of the screen here. Click that and you'll see a tab Audiences. Go into Audiences and you can then create audiences. As soon as you've created a custom audience, also create a new audience as a lookalike of that custom audience. And these are your options within custom audiences. In fact, there's a lot more. This is quite an old slide. There's more options than this. It's getting so advanced. But people who visited your website, people who visited specific web pages, people who visited some and not others, and people who haven't visited, time on your website or a custom combination. There's all sorts of options in there. So it's up to you to think, who are the most important people coming into my world, and what are they doing, and what pages must they have visited, and to create your custom audiences based on that. Another thing that is really useful to do with custom audiences, so this is a campaign we run for a client of ours who sells holiday cabins. Now we use time sequencing on his custom audiences. This campaign has been an absolute runaway success. He has spent 17 grand on Facebook ads, which might sound like a lot. He sold £2.5 million worth of property of off-plan holiday lodges. So this is an absolute runaway success in terms of return on ad spend. But what we do is we run ads to sequence custom audiences. So we take a period, so the example is downloading the brochure for the holiday cabin, for the off-plan holiday cabin. At that point, they go into a new custom audience of people who've downloaded the brochure, and we then sequence them into 2 days, 4 days, 6 days, 8 days. And at that point, by including one audience and excluding another audience, we can run ads to people who've downloaded the brochure for a period of days. It's called an ad evergreen stack. So, first 7 days after downloading the brochure, you're going to get retargeted with another ad that tells you more information about the holiday cabins. From day 17 to 14 after you've downloaded the brochure, you're going to see another ad. From days 14 to 21, you're going to see another ad. So this takes a lot of time to set up, but once it's set up, it's evergreen, it keeps running, and it means everybody who downloads the brochure gets put through the same follow-up content campaign, and actually this follow-up campaign lasts for 55 days. So never download that brochure if you don't want to see the follow-up campaign. Because once you're stuck in that follow-up sequence, you actually can't get out of it. Well, you can, you'd have to contact us, we'd have to upload your email address. So, I mean, we're all familiar with the feeling of having visited a website and then it's like, oh my god, when are they going to stop showing me their stuff? So the message is to really focus on working in custom and lookalike audiences as much as possible. And I just wanted to show you this because we are being targeted by advertisers in this way all the time. So when you see an ad on your feed, I want you to go to this top right arrow on the ad and click, why am I seeing this advert? Because if you can learn what other people are doing, it helps give you inspiration for your own ads. So, for instance, Bloom and Wild targeted me, and I said, why am I seeing this advert? They want to reach women aged 25 and older who live in the United Kingdom. They're not going to tell you at this point every interest-based targeting that they've used, but I know now that Bloom and Wild, I'm in their core audience, I'm in their best guess audience. You know, they've just put some parameters and Facebook has found me. This second ad that I came up on my feed from Liz, why am I seeing this ad? Because I am on their customer list. So Liz Earle, I am a customer of Liz Earle, and they are retargeting me as an existing customer of theirs. And finally, Truva, I click this, why am I seeing this ad? And it says that Truva wants to reach people who may be similar to their customers. So we know that Truva are using a lookalike audience, similar to their customers, I mean. So we know that Truva are using a lookalike audience of people who've already bought from them. So when you're clicking that button, what you just want to familiarise yourself with and start to learn is, are these brands targeting you using best guessed? Are you kind of core audience, they're just hoping? Are you being retargeted because you visited their website or you are a customer of theirs? Or are you in a lookalike audience? And then it's interesting to just think, you know, I actually did love, and I'm in a lookalike audience of Truva customers, so I love it when I say I'm in a lookalike audience. I'm like, brilliant, you know, do I like this brand or not? Let's see. So I then went on their website and I did like their brand. So I thought potentially I could have been dragged into, if I wasn't researching, I could have actually ended up buying something, in which case their lookalike audience would have worked. So back to getting, you're back in Ads Manager now. So what we've done now is you've set up your pixel, you've set up your audiences, you've started thinking about your targeting and the journey people are going through. So you come back to your campaign, ready to start your campaigns, and I want you to just stop again before you start advertising, still not ad ready. You have to really think about having your ducks in a row before you start advertising. And by that I mean you need to have worked on your website traffic, you need to build up your email list, you need to build out your own world of custom audiences, and you need to understand that if you don't, then you're going to be paying for that in cold hard cash, because you're not going to have any data, and you're going to have to invest in data, which basically means paying to send a ton of traffic on Facebook whilst expecting no outcome from the ads at all, because you're investing in giving Facebook the data it needs to start learning from it. So I always love it when a client comes on and I go on their website and see they've got 10,000 visitors per month. For instance, we've just taken on an e-commerce client and they've got a new pixel on their website. Now normally when I hear the word new pixel I think, oh god, you're joking, shit, that's going to be a nightmare, they've got no data. But actually they're already doing through their e-commerce site £80,000 a month. So that pixel's been on their site for about 4 weeks. But in that 4 weeks, because the volume of traffic and the volume of events, the volume of purchases, Facebook is already doing the learning. So actually they've made up for having the pixel on for a very short time by having a high amount of activity on their site. You want, before you invest in ads, you want Facebook to be able to do some learning. And if you haven't done any learning on your site, then you have to accept you're going to have to pay for it. You're going to have to pay for the learning phase. And even when you do start ads, you'll still be paying for the learning phase, but you're going to have to pay even more for the learning phase if you have no website traffic, if you have no email list, if you have nobody checking out. And it's for that reason as an agency that unless your product is really, really brilliant, you don't even work with brand new e-commerce stores, because generally the learning's not there. It's just a painful process. So this is generally how the Facebook marketing funnel works. You remember I said that people are not searching on Facebook, they're minding their own business, they're browsing. So you have to take them through this journey of turning from somebody who's just minding their own business into someone who's actively going to buy your product. All Facebook ads, good campaigns, work in 3 tiers. You have a discovery tier, which is really when you're just introducing your product to them with no expected outcome whatsoever. If you make your money back on your, we call it top of funnel, you can make your money back on your top of funnel ads, which is great, but you shouldn't necessarily expect to. The next is the retargeting layer of ads, or the intent layer of ads. So this is the stage where you take the people who you've introduced to. So say I'll take you guys here, okay? With the product made by you guys. What we're going to do here is top of funnel, discovery phase. We're just going to run a nice ad that just sort of showcases the product, introduces it to these guys. But we're going to expect that they're going to go on their merry way. We're just the first port of call. It's the same as when you see something in a magazine. Just, oh yeah, that's interesting. I like the look of that. You don't necessarily take action. So these guys have now gone on their way and haven't bought your ad. The next thing we're going to do is run a second series of ads at them, an intent ad, a retargeting ad, in which we're going to say to them quite clearly, do you want to buy this product? And some of them are going to buy the product. Enough of them need to buy the product for your product to make money. Finally, for those people who purchase the product, we want to offer them an extra incentive to repurchase, to get in the habit of purchasing with your brand. So that's the third tier of ads. Now this is an e-commerce brand whose ads we're running right now. And I just want to show you what an actual successful campaign looks like, because like I said, most people don't run enough ads or spend enough money or test enough things. So these are just the ads we have running live now. So this is a brand new e-commerce brand, very unusual for us to work with this brand. We took her on in August and started her ads in September. The reason we did is a beauty product, and I just thought, you know what, I totally know how to make this product, nail it. So she started in September with no sales. January, this month, she should hit 40 grand in sales, in revenue. So to show you how these, but the reason I'm showing you this is actually what, overall we're running a campaign. Yes, this campaign is working, but inside the campaign, this is the structure of campaigns. So you see anything that said TOF, that means top of funnel, which means it's a discovery campaign. We're just introducing you guys the product for the very first time. So we have she has a male product and a female product, which is done in a number of campaigns. Top of funnel, we have a women's product, men's product, what else has got top of funnel? A brand awareness video. So we're testing, and these are just the campaigns that are live right now. There's about, I don't know, maybe there's 10. We have tested probably, I should have checked the number, but probably about 100 different campaigns. If you go and ad account, when we started in September, launching campaigns, what figures come back, turn it off, start again, launch campaign. That's the way it rolls. So this is what it looks like. Then you have middle of funnel, which is the retargeting. This is going back to these guys. We've shown you our product. Do you guys now want to buy it? Some of them are going to buy it. So middle of funnel, you can see anything with MOF is the middle of funnel, the retarget, and this one's been labelled retarget. I have to talk to my team about that. I'm trying to get them to name, across all clients, to name everything exactly the same, otherwise this is too much information. So it shouldn't say retarget, it should say MOF. And finally, BOF, bottom of funnel. The particular bottom of funnel offer for this brand is it's a subscription beauty product, but you can buy it as a one-off product. So out of these guys, we first put the product in front. Some of them have purchased, maybe these two rows here have purchased. These two rows here now see another campaign which gives them a real special offer to repurchase at a higher volume. So in this instance we do 3 for the price of 2 to repurchase, and it also incentivize them to subscribe. Those people who buy for the 3 for the price of 2, bearing in mind they'll now use this beauty product 4 times, are then shown another ad bottom of funnel to encourage them to subscribe. So you can see how that ad has been structured, that campaign, what we're seeing here, has been structured like a proper funnel to bring these people through. This isn't just, oh, I boosted a post, it didn't work, or I ran a campaign and I didn't get any sales. This has been 4 months. Yeah, this is our 4th month of running campaigns like that, and that is what an actual successful working campaign looks like. And most people don't know that. So when I'm onboarding clients, I'm auditing ad accounts, I have never ever seen things like this inside people's ad accounts, so they just don't know that is what they need to be doing. And if I did see something like that inside someone's ad account, I'd be like, you don't need us, just get on with it, like, you're doing fine. So just another word about video. It's really, really important to use videos in your ad creatives, or to use any of the other interactive forms of ads that Facebook have, like carousel ads. On this beauty brand, we actually only run video ads, and in fact for the holiday cabin, off-plan holiday cabins, we also only run video ads. So the next thing is split testing. So you saw the scale out of that campaign and how many things we tested. To do that, we use a tool called Adespresso. I'm not an affiliate for Adespresso or anything like that, but I do think they're absolutely incredible for the purpose of being able to launch a large number of ads and then see which ones are working. Actually, I also love Ads Manager itself. They're just slightly different ways to come at campaigns. So to give you an indicator here of different campaigns, so one of our clients is the IVF Clinic Zeta West. This is a webinar she runs a monthly webinar that we have about 600 people come onto the webinar for the clinic each month. It's hosted live, and then they get the chance to make an appointment with her. Again, so what Adespresso does is it presents your data back to you in a really great way. You can see actually which ad text is performing better and which isn't. You can see them directly against each other in terms of the things that matter. Cost per conversion, this ad text is doing better than this one, and then it enables me to turn this ad set off easily. That's the brilliance of Adespresso. Again, this is Summer Leighton Hall, who sell these off-plan holiday cabins. Again, you just get your data presented back to you really easily. So the cost per sign-up for brochure, actually, you know, because you might think, one thing I think is it doesn't matter what I think, and it doesn't matter what my client thinks. You know, clients always say, oh, you know, our customers are like this, they're like that, and I'm just like, yeah. Obviously I have to listen because I'm running an agency, but what I actually think is the proof is going to be in the pudding here. It doesn't matter what you think, it doesn't matter what I think, it only matters what we see here. So for instance, this off-plan holiday cabin, people thought that, you know, the option for co-ownership was going to be a really powerful pull for people, and my client went on to me so much about, you know, the fact we do co-ownership. It's all about co-ownership, and this is what makes us different, and that you can earn extra income on your second home. But what we see here is actually, look at the cost per conversion. No one's this is not resonating. This is what's resonating, generic ad text in this instance. So you've always got to be looking at that. Ad Espresso, if you use it, enables you to do that much more easily than Ads Manager if you're not used to using Ads Manager. And then you just turn off the ad that's not performing as well. Another bit of data from Ad Espresso, again, this is just to reinforce what I've already told you. This is a campaign, the same campaign running to a custom audience. This is actually the Zeta West Fertility Clinic. We were running the ads for the IVF Fertility Success webinar to people who'd visited the website. Now, a clinic like Zeta West has very high website traffic, she's really well known. So we're running the ad to people who visited the website in the last 30 days and people who are similar to people who visited the website in the last 30 days. What we see is that the click-through rate, which is a measure, a KPI for ads, how well is your ad working, the click-through rate is much higher on a custom audience than it is on a lookalike. And of course that's what you'd expect, so that just shows the importance. That's one of the reasons with Zeta we work really hard to increase her website traffic through blogging and good SEO, because the more it shows that the people who visited the website are much more likely to click on the ad and sign up to this webinar than people who haven't visited the website, which makes total perfect sense, I think, and hopefully you can all see why. So that's why it's really important to build out your own well, build custom audiences, build website traffic. And if you had a core audience, so if I just guessed, if I took in my best guess that I want people, women who live in London, aged say 30 to 45, who might be thinking about, who are interested in pregnancy, you would see that core audience most likely performing the worst of the three down here. Okay, so we're going to go to a Q&A. Before we do, if you want to ask me questions and stuff as well, just look up the Bolt community on Facebook and join my group there. And in there I do lives and try and offer advice to people on running their campaigns and help people as best as I can, outside of the people who are actually clients of our agency. So, hopefully, now one thing I will say about Facebook ads before we go to a Q&A is when I first heard all this stuff about lookalikes and custom audiences and all this stuff, I felt totally mind blown by it. Like, you actually have to hear this about 5 times in order for it to properly make sense. You also have to run ads and test things. It's actually, with Facebook ads, it's only really by doing that you get the learning. But hopefully, this has given you some sort of groundwork and framework and understanding of the very basic principles of ads. So if anyone's got any questions, I would absolutely love to hear them.
Okay, I've got about a million questions.
Okay.
One of my first one is you kind of keep saying that core kind of performs the worst. Do you have to set up a core audience to begin with, or should you just not bother them?
If you've got enough data to not bother, then don't.
When you say enough data, do you mean as in literally email address data or just data from your website?
Both email address data or data from your website. So for instance, with this e-commerce brand, who are doing 80 grand a month, we will probably not use, we're looking to only use, they're quite a long lasting, they've been going for a long time, they've got a lot of purchase data from their customers. We're looking to only use lookalike of purchases. We won't run any core ads at all because actually they're a uniform company, it's a business-to-business offer. It's quite hard, like I can be like, oh okay, I want, it's that best guess route, it becomes subjective. So if you have enough, what sort of data do you have?
Well, I literally just launched my website in November, so I would definitely go for the core. But I was just wondering whether you had to. You were saying if you don't have that data.
No, I mean core is like the beginners. It's the nursery slopes, and everybody starts with core. But if you have enough data to go straight for lookalikes, then I would do that. You're just getting close. It's like you're kind of sort of wading through treacle, and you've got to get closer to the people who are actually your people.
Okay, and then just link to it.
Yeah.
In terms of learning, you talked about learning about your site and gathering data. So when you say that, you're talking about 2 things. So the first would be that actually getting the pixel on so it can start learning.
Yeah.
But then also gathering data in terms of blogging, SEO. Is that what
So blogging and SEO is building website traffic, which is going to gather some data. I'm talking about you've got to have the pixel on to gather all data, and then it's setting up your custom conversions, which is telling Facebook what matters most. So it might be, what do you do? What's your site going to do?
We're a product like cushions, home interiors.
So it's e-commerce.
Yeah.
Is it Shopify?
Yeah.
Okay. So Shopify is a really good integration with Facebook. They will automatically connect, and Facebook will be able to see the purchases. Your events are already set up. So things like add to cart, purchase, initiate, checkout are known as events. What you need to do is go into your Pixel dashboard. Like, is your Pixel on your site?
No, not yet.
Okay, right. Get it on your site and then wait for a month or something. Then go into your Pixel Pixel dashboard, and you want to go to view all events, and you want to see that it's picking up all those different events in there. It's like a car engine dashboard. You just want to know the engine's working, like the rev counter or something like that. So you want to check that all your events are being monitored, and that means your Shopify and Facebook are connected together properly, and then you're fine.
And you recommend the Pixel for about a month?
It depends on your website traffic. So do you know how much website traffic you've got?
Well, they're not.
So you've got no website traffic. So you've got two options. Well, actually, your options are: number one, get some publicity to send a load of website traffic. Number two, just wait, and it depends how much traffic you can send organically through social, though that's going to decrease because of this latest Facebook update. So, and see how long. I mean, really, inside Facebook there's a guide to how many events and pixel files you need per week. It's about 10,000. It's quite high if you want to launch a campaign that's optimised for conversion, so optimised for purchase. Or you're going to have to pay for that traffic from Facebook. You're going to have to pay for the learning phase. You have to plug the gap financially with the lack of activity on site, basically.
Hello?
Hello.
How do you measure success if you're running a campaign? How much money you should invest and what's the
return on ad spend.
Yeah.
So it depends on for an e-commerce campaign or a lead generation campaign. For e-commerce, it's really easy to measure the success because it's about return on ad spend. So it depends how much your product costs. And really, you want to have a product that you'll work. Can I just say something? It's really important to sell products priced over about £35 if you want them to work properly on Facebook. Low price products just won't work. As an agency, we try never to work with products priced under £50 because of the cost. This whole thing that we see in this latest algorithm, where it's like costs are going to go up. It's like it's whether or not the product's viable for advertising in the first place. So return on ad spend is how much of your ads money you're getting back. So generally, if your product is, say you take a product and it's a 50% margin, you don't want it to be 50% by the way, that's low, you need a higher gross margin than that. But if you get a return on ad spend of 2, then you're getting back your ad money and making the cost of your product. In which case, if your customers are then rebuying, you're profitable and you can scale your ads. So Facebook will give you a return on ad spend based on the sales volume of that particular campaign, the actual revenue. You then have to take that return on ad spend figure, which might be 1, 2, 3. It's a number, it's a score. It's like, have I got my ad spend back? In which case it's 1. Have I got double my ad spend? In which case it's 2. But double your ad spend doesn't mean you're profitable. It depends on what your product's supposed to be.
And on the leads?
Leads. So on lead generation, how to know it's profitable? Okay, so then you have to take we build out these quite complicated calculators that show, but basically it's like how many leads. So normally a lead generation campaign looks like this. You send people to an opt-in page in which they download a brochure. You take the holiday house, they download a brochure, they become a prospect, they're on a database. So and that opt-in page you need to convert at 25%, otherwise it's pointless. So say I've got 100 prospects in my database. Of those prospects, how many of those then become inquiries, blah, 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 and then how many become purchases? So everything for lead generation is, you have to work it out on the case-by-case basis. It's basically, you're putting people through 2 stages. They've got to get through 2 hoops. Number 1, they have to become a prospect, i.e. download your first piece. So take the Zeta West IVF Clinic webinar, so it's quite easy to see there. People have to attend the webinar, so you have 600 people sign up for the webinar. Generally, you get about 350 people coming live onto the webinar. From that live onto the webinar, we get 100 inquiries to the clinic. But so that they're like warmer prospects, and from there you might get however many become actual patients. They have a range of treatments, and then they have to work out how much it's a sales funnel. We're putting people through a funnel. But with lead generation, there's 2 steps they've got to go through. Become a prospect and then become a client. So yeah, when you start running ads, you'll figure out backwards how to work out their profitable numbers.
Very loud. Is there a way to, well, will there be a way to actually measure the revenue from your ads? Because at the moment there's no like monetary value. There's a cost
in your ad account.
Yeah, but it's not like which links to the website, and it actually says. So I know the average cost on our website would be £20 someone spent. So I would then estimate that the person spent £20, but
Your pixel must not be set up then. You can definitely see all ad revenue. In fact, when I next see this talk, I'll put it on. But you can definitely see all ad revenue. If I can, I did bring my laptop. Otherwise, I was going to say I could show you on my ad account. If your pixel's on properly, what platforms are site on? Shopify. Something's not set up right. You can see your entire purchases. I mean, that's what's brilliant about e-commerce versus lead generation. So with lead generation as an agency, we have to rely on the client to report back to us, you know, how many IVF cycles. And obviously, they're not necessarily going to tell us that there's loads because it's going to double our prices. But with e-commerce, there's no lack of transparency. It's 100% transparent. It's just the numbers are there. So you should be able to see on a campaign by campaign basis exactly what the purchase value is, the cost per purchase, and the return on ad spend. So if you can't see that data, then something's not right. Also, in your ad account, there is another bit where on your dashboard, the dashboard's here, look around this area, and the screen ends there, there's something called customized columns. Go in there and see if you can put up in there, and then put purchase, and add that to your columns that you see in Ads Manager, and then if the purchases are there, you'll see them.
You haven't mentioned Instagram. When we do our adverts, it seems to get served more often on Instagram. Is there anything we should be doing differently?
No, sorry, I should have said in my work are the same thing. So when I'm talking about advertising, I'm talking about Facebook and Instagram. All that matters is the cost per, e-commerce as well. So all that matters is the cost per purchase, and you need to test across both platforms. Actually, I find Instagram normally is more expensive than Facebook and tend to put ads. But clients like ads to go on Instagram because it feels nice for them. But what we see across the clients we work with right now is that Instagram's more expensive. But I know other agencies who are like, well, Instagram ads are so much cheaper. So it's totally a product on a product basis. So yeah, you would run ads across both platforms, and
will you split test across the two platforms?
yeah, you want to know everything about your campaign costs. You want to know everything about. You don't want a single detail of that campaign ad. You want to know how much is the cost per purchase on Instagram, how much is the cost per purchase on Facebook, and you can then take a call on it. Maybe you think, oh, I want my ads. Okay, cost per purchase on Instagram is a little bit higher, but you know, I feel my tribe on Instagram, so I'll keep my ads there. Or you might be like, right, forget it. We're getting enough purchase through Facebook. We'll scale up on Facebook. If you don't have that data, if you don't know the concept of what you were saying, if you don't know how profitable your campaigns are, you want to get your campaigns to a point. So with this e-commerce client, the beauty brand, she has an ad budget, which is actually £5,000 per month she spends on ads as a starting position. And we want to get them to a point where there are return on ad spend across all her campaigns is over 2. She has a very high repurchase rate. At that point, we know that it doesn't matter how much money she puts in, the ads are profitable. So you have to kind of go to level 1, which is stability and profitability, and then you start scaling your campaigns. But you want to be sure that no matter how much you put in, what you get out is more. Any other questions?
I apologise, I'm going to ask a really dull question. The laws on data protection are changing hugely in
Yeah.
It sounds to me like the Facebook Pixel, which we haven't got at the moment, we're giving Facebook a load of information about our customers, is that right?
Yeah.
So how do we deal with that, making sure that we're not going to get sued?
Through your privacy, I mean, I'm not a legal expert, I'm a campaign expert, but through your privacy policy, I mean, yeah, you're collecting data all the time for Facebook and Google if you are tracking data back and forth. So you just have to have on your privacy policy, and it's something like, this is how we use our data, and then you need to say we use it for remarketing on Facebook. I mean, actually, Facebook knows more about your customers than you do, because they know who your customer is on a person-by-person basis. I mean, you might know in terms of your purchases, but your website business you don't know on a person-by-person basis. But there's nothing you do about it. I mean, so it's in your terms, conditions, and privacy policy that you deal with that. Yeah.
Hi, this is really interesting, thank you very much. You talk about campaigns. For me at the moment, it's more about exposure. Can you advise on where to go and how to create it? What goes into a successful campaign?
What do you do?
I'm sort of trying to figure it out at the moment, but it's more like media journalism sort of product. It's sort of growing quite daily, really.
Okay, but what's the goal of the campaign? To get yourself more known or the product more known?
Myself, actually, and product sort of eventually.
I mean, if you're talking about awareness, and lots of big brands run awareness campaigns, and that's fine, but for you, just going to go back to the top of funnel, you're talking about top of funnel activity. I mean, I personally like our campaigns to be profitable unless it's a big brand who basically have a budget of 50 million, of which they just have to spend it, in which case you can even talk to them about just reach and engagement, and that's what TV advertising is about. It's just about, can I reach this number of people? For SME, I would want to see a campaign that's profitable. So you're talking about top of the funnel in terms of getting yourself more known. So you would have to understand that those campaigns are not going to be profitable. So you're fine, if you've got money to put into it, then that's absolutely fine. But the campaign would be, are you doing videos?
Yeah, at the moment I am full-time employment, so it's not at the moment that I'm making money.
So it would be a campaign.
I'm just curious, because sometimes I see people and they're buying from my wallet because I don't want to do it. But
what do you see people doing that makes you wonder? Just so I can understand properly what.
Sorry, I'm not really explaining myself very well at all.
Look, if you want to
talk about building up followers, like Instagram or whatever. So, and we're talking about campaigns. I'm just more curious about what is a successful campaign?
Okay, so a successful campaign for my agency is a profitable campaign. We don't care if your page has got 2 likes. I'm not about, there's 2 things, which is the perceived status that comes from having a lot of likes, and then it's also helpful to have a lot of likes because you can run ads to your people who like your page for engaging with you. So there's a custom audience in there. From my point of view, I'm more interested in, can I get a custom audience? I don't care about the perceived value of the likes. It's like, if you've got enough likes to get a custom audience or blah, blah, blah. So a successful campaign really, if you're outside of being Coca-Cola or any other one else who advertises on Tube, it has to be about profit. So for you, if you just want to build awareness ahead of launching something, then you need to operate. You're in the top of funnel, so you're going to be doing this campaign here. See, it says, so it's the top of funnel, women, LLA purchases. That means a lookalike of purchases, brand awareness. That is a video views campaign, but we are building an audience of the people who video view through the video. So you need to collect all the people into a custom audience. Because otherwise it's pointless, it's just vanity metrics, which might be fun. It's not like my agency, but it might be
away to the living room, we have table talk. The global guest. This is taking place
hang on a second,
in the living room.
But this on this e-commerce brand here, and e-commerce is different to becoming more well-known yourself or whatever, but this is a brand awareness, it's a video views campaign, and this is them being straight away retargeted with a purchase campaign. So this doesn't run without the call to action to purchase. Gotcha. Okay, any other questions? There's one more question here.
I'm just wondering how you attribute certain activity with sales for an e-commerce site. So whether it's first click, last click, or another attribution model.
So we attribute it on a 7-day click window, but there's two things with e-commerce you have to look at, which is firstly the actual sales that Facebook say result from the ads, which is accurate, like from that particular ad result from that. But secondly, you always get a kind of residual uplift in sales across the brand as a whole as a result of running ads. So you can really see it in this with this client. Actually, this is what I love about this client is that because she started from ground zero, there's no kind of, oh well, you know, people love my brand anyway. So you can see that the ads result in from the conversion when this are measured inside Facebook, attributed to their last click, I think the first click, I remember which one it is. You can see the ads result in around 50% of our sales per month. But taking the sales from 0 in September to 40 grand in January is a result of running ads. But the ads are actually attributable to probably 50% of the sales. It's also a result of email marketing, by the way, guys. Can I just say, with this e-commerce client, we did competitions to start building up a list. We've done pop-ups on our website, and then we have like email sequences again at every point of interaction. Plus, we have a newsletter, and we've increased e-commerce, we've increased our website traffic through blogging. So, but yeah, I mean, you will always get an uplift in sales parallel with the ads. So you should run two figures each month. Firstly, your return on ad spend, directly attributable, and secondly, your overall revenue as a proportion of your ad spend, because to some extent the ads will drive things that don't come from the ads. For instance, you might have done this yourself. You see something on Facebook and then you go and Google it without clicking on the ad. So you always see that second, it's called like the dark net or something. It's not dark at all, it's really good actually. It's like, this is great. So you will always see that. Okay, any